All right, so in today's video, we're going to talk about how do you become immune to a narcissist? How do you never, ever, 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 ever manifest a narcissist in your reality ever the fuck again? Hey everyone, it's Velez. I am a conscious life and success coach, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. I love you all. So I'm really excited to talk about this because this is something that I know from experience, not personally, because I don't date narcissists. That's the one thing I don't manifest in. And I'm going to tell you why, but from professionally speaking, when I was practicing therapy, I worked with a lot of true narcissists, real personality disordered narcissists, not the fake ones that are just toxic and unhealed and unhealthy that a lot of people are referring to narcissists. There's a big fucking difference. So I am really excited to break these down. Now, this is not the end all be all video. I'm just giving you 3 tips of how to be immune to them, how to not manifest these people in your reality. And let's say you do manifest someone in toxic that is unhealed and really displaying a lot of the characteristics that go along with someone who is a narcissist, but they're not a full-blown personality disorder narcissist, then you will not manifest these in anymore, or you'll see the red flags and you will get the fuck out of Dodge, because you're not creating a reality like that. You're going to manifest in versions of people who are healed, versions of people who are not abusive, versions of people that are kind, loving, and supportive and have self-respect for themselves so that they can demonstrate that towards you. So we're going to jump in from a law of assumption perspective and really talk about 3 main things that'll help you make sure you don't manifest a narcissist in, a real one or a fake one. And again, fake ones are just really toxic, abusive, unhealed versions of people, because not everybody's manifesting in shitty relationships. There's a lot of people in the world that have healthy relationships. And when I say healthy, obviously that's subjective, but we're talking about where there's a mutual level of respect. There's a foundation where each person individually respects themselves, so they're able to bring that layer of respect into the relationship and treat each other with respect, that they value each other, they're on the same page, that even if they don't agree or have issues where they're not seeing eye to eye, they don't disrespect each other. They can talk like normal human beings. They're not being abusive. Even if, somebody has a moment or a day and they're kind of out of character, it doesn't happen anymore. They're just not abusive. They're easy to be around. And you're not on this constant emotional roller coaster ride of, pain, emotional pain, and deceit and lies and disrespect and abuse, because that is not healthy. That is not healthy in a relationship. And if you're in a relationship with someone or dealing with people in your life that have manifested in that way towards you, then you got to look at, if I'm the only person in my reality that's creating my experiences, why is this what I'm bringing into me? So first and foremost, before we dive into all this juicy juiceness, if you are interested in getting my free mini workbook, it is not the one that I sell on Amazon. It is one called Limitless in Love. It's a 21-page workbook. The link is below in the description. Go at it. It's fun. I haven't shared it in so long, and I'm like, why not? This is so valuable and it's so good. I get amazing feedback when I used to share it all the time. So definitely grab that. The link is below, or you can get the number 1 reason why you're not manifesting your specific person back. That is a free video training that I've done for you as well. So all that info is below. So let's dive in about this. So what are the 3 main ways that you become immune from a narcissist, that you really protect yourself from someone who is a narcissist in your life? Well, the first and foremost, and a lot of you don't shut off the video when I say this, because the last 2 tips, you can't do them without this, okay? So you don't want to miss all these tips, because you can manifest in a hell of a lot fucking better, and you honestly deserve a lot better than somebody who's being abusive to you, disrespectful, and all that yucky stuff I already talked about. So the first tip is you got to change your self-concept in love, guys. So I can't tell you how many people think they have an amazing self-concept, but they keep manifesting in really shitty versions of people just specific to their love life. Some of you are doing it in your personal life where it's friends, coworkers, your boss, things like that too. But when you look at, even if you're successful in so many other areas of your life, but in this one area, this is the kind of people that you date. These are the types of people that you bring into your reality when it comes to your love life. You have a shitty story about yourself when it comes to love and the people that, you date romantically. And the first thing you have to do is really reinforce and change the subconscious programming that is allowing you to accept shitty behavior, that is allowing you to be victim in your reality, to keep allowing someone to disrespect you and abuse you and hurt you, and instead of allowing you to take measures to protect yourself emotionally and physically if needed, right? So as an adult, we have to take responsibility for what we allow in our reality. So when we're encountering people, even if they're not favorable, especially in your love life, anyone close to you, and you're allowing them to continuously disrespect you, to continuously abuse you and hurt you in ways, then you have to look at why are you accepting that? And it comes down to self-worth and your self-value and love, because someone who has high self-worth, they're immune to narcissists. They don't deal with that shit. The minute somebody's popping off the wrong way, they're like, not today, not today. There's a million other people out there, or you can come back one day when you got your shit together and you know how to treat yourself as well as me. Until then, say, see ya. I'm not dealing with this. That is what someone with a high value self-concept of high self-esteem and self-worth does. They don't sit around and allow the inconsistencies. They don't make excuses. They don't ignore the red flags. They don't accept the abuse, the disrespect continuously, etc., etc. So how do you reprogram the mind so that you start thinking and seeing yourself differently? Because your story of you is your self-identity and love, that I'm not worthy of meeting someone who actually values me and respects me, that, maybe this is all that I'm worth. So this is why I allow it. This is why I hang on. I'm scared to let this person go because I think they love me. And if this is what love is for me, then this is the only person giving it to me, and without it, I will not have love, and I'm scared I'll never receive this again. Well, that means that you have low self-concept. You don't have an abundant mindset of who you are, what you deserve, and what you're worthy of. So if you understand law of assumption, that it's your belief system that creates your reality. Our thoughts create all of our experiences, but our beliefs are our assumptions. Our beliefs are what stick and what allows us to sustain things over and over on a continuous pattern. So if your assumptions or beliefs that are already programmed in you are allowing you to keep accepting shitty behavior from people that keep making you feel like you're not good enough, so you have to chase them, or you just accept the bare minimum, or some of you don't even accept that at all, then that means your self-concept sucks, babes. Like point blank reality. And one of the things, those of you that are listening right now that are like, no, I'm going to focus on changing only them, then that even tells me more that your self-esteem is not good, because you're more invested in focusing on a story about your narcissist specific person or toxic specific person more than you're about, well, what's going on with me? If this is my pattern, and don't I deserve to feel confident, secure, and valued and loved for myself, so that when I am triggered or when I'm dealing with a version of someone like this, I don't have to accept it, and I won't be sitting in insecurity and fear and feeling unloved and unrejected. So, to each their own. It's a fucking journey. It's an inner transformational experience. A lot of you will always come back to me that aren't ready to hear this, and you'll come back to me when it clicks for you, because you've done it where you've listened to the other people that are like, just focus on your SP and your self-concept's not key, but you keep repeating the same cycle over and over. It'll click, and then I'll be here for you. So I got your back either way. It's just when you want to receive the information. So you have to change your self-concept. And I know from personal experience, while I didn't manifest in narcissistic people per se, I loved working with them. They were fun as hell when I was a therapist to work with, because I really could get under their skin. But I had a different self-concept as a therapist than I did of me in a romantic relationship. So I had to change my own self-concept and reprogram my mind when it came to my love life. So I stopped manifesting in versions of men that were still showing up in unhealthy ways. So this is where we take the responsibility of what we're allowing to continue in our life. Because as an adult, we have power. One, you're in control of your mind if you choose to be, and you can learn how to reprogram it. Two, you don't have to stay stuck under the same roof or dating someone or involved with someone who is abusive to you or hurting you emotionally or any other way. We have choices as adults that maybe we didn't have as kids, okay? So there's no excuse except this is all I believe that I'm worthy of, which is why you'll stay stuck in that pattern if that's where you're at, okay? Number two is don't ignore the red flags. You have to stop ignoring the red flags. I can't tell you how many times I've done this myself, and I've worked with lots of clients for over almost 15 years now where they've all ignored the red flags. The only reason why we ignore red flags, again, it ties into self-worth. Because if you're ignoring red flags, like major deal breakers, like you're catching them lying to you constantly, they're being abusive to you, and I'm not just talking about physical abuse, I'm talking about emotional abuse, mental abuse, right? They are not following through, like they're so inconsistent, their actions don't match their words regularly. So when you're understanding as a conscious creator that people are only mirrors and circumstances are only an indicator of what is going on with my internal system, my belief system about me, then you'll understand that the only reason why I'm ignoring red flags is because I don't believe I deserve better, and I'm making excuses to stay stuck with what I know I'm familiar and comfortable with, which may be associating, the inconsistency. It may be associating the inconsistency, the chasing, the not feeling wanted and loved and chosen. So you'll stay in relationships, even if it's not what you want, that support your self-concept, because you won't be able to sustain and be involved with someone who shows you something different because you won't trust it. You won't allow it. You'll sabotage it through behaviors, but you'll also sabotage it by creating, because your belief system will override what you want with a version of someone who is not desirable, okay? So don't ignore the red flags. If you see anything, and listen, maybe you catch somebody in a lie once and you're like, you know what, we've all lied as humans, it happens, doesn't mean you're pathological liars, or a narcissist or someone who's super fucking toxic and unhealthy, right? So you give them a free pass, okay, but then they do it again and they do it again. Well, why you keep sticking around? Because this is what a lot of people do. They get mad and they go to the person, they're like, you're a liar, stop lying to me so I can trust you and feel okay. But they keep catching the person in a lie and they keep getting mad and more mad at the person. And it's like, but babe, you're the one that's accepting it. You're sitting here wanting that person to stop lying to you, but you're not willing to not engage with that person because they are a liar. So why the fuck would they stop? Okay, that's a behavioral standpoint, that's a psychological standpoint, but when you look at it from law of assumption, why are you allowing someone to lie to you? Why do you believe that is all you're worth of having? Why is that the story you're manifesting, that the people you date aren't trustworthy, that, they are inconsistent, they don't have integrity, etc. So you have to change these stories. You have to be very aware and take accountability for yourself, what's going on in your mind, your perception, your belief systems, your thoughts about you, your love life, and the people you're dating. And then also behaviorally, what am I accepting? Why am I getting mad at somebody for showing up the way they're showing up when I keep accepting it? I keep dealing with it. Why haven't you walked away and said you've lied one too many times? I'm going to go over here. We'll look at it from law of assumption thing. I'm going to go over here because this is not the version I want. I need to be working on my self-concept and changing my story of how people show up for me in my love life. And I'm going to go reprogram my mind, live my best life, knowing and trusting one day you'll come back reformed. One day this person can come back and be a very different version of themselves where they have integrity and they have self-respect and self-worth, and they're not lying and they're not being disrespectful to you. So again, so many people give up their power in life and don't act as a conscious creator because their belief system won't allow them, because they feel so unloved and so rejected and so unwanted that they will literally take breadcrumbs and disrespect and abusive behaviors from people because to them it's better than nothing. And that shit's got to change, because if it doesn't change in your mind, that mindset, that mindset, that perspective, then that's all you're going to keep manifesting in. Okay. And we're breaking that on this channel. We're about empowerment. On this channel, you're about, you know what? All I got to do is reprogram me and can really live my best life and have amazing, fulfilling relationships. And this is how you're immune to a narcissist. You won't deal with it if you value yourself, because you won't manifest that shit in, or if it does show up, you'll fucking catch it quick and walk away knowing, all right, until my love life catches up, until the 3D reflects my new story, I don't got to engage with this bullshit. That is what the middle is. That is what Neville would call the middle. So then we'll look at tip number 3 of how to become immune to a narcissist. Well, tip number 3 is set your fucking boundaries, babe. Now, you can't set your boundaries and stick with them. And I'm going to explain what a boundary is and what does it actually look like to set them, because so many people got this wrong. I used to see this all the time as a therapist, okay? So setting your boundaries, you cannot do healthy boundaries and stick with them if your self-esteem and self-concept is in the shitter, because you will cave, you will keep disrespecting yourself by allowing disrespect over and over. If there is no self-care, there's no self-love, there's no respect for yourself. And this is again where people, you know, mess up things and they're not consciously creating the relationship that they want, that feels good and is loving and peaceful and nurturing and supportive and harmonious. They don't get that. It's not fulfilling for them because they keep going outside of themselves and demanding from someone outside of them to show up different so they can feel different. And you got to become the new version of you by changing your mindset. It's a mental game. Change your mental thoughts to support a new internal state where it feels natural for you to expect and think and know that you are worthy of being loved, and know that any person you're dating will get their shit together for you because of how amazing you are. But until you know that to be your truth, you'll keep manifesting in versions of people that are maybe not super healthy, or you'll get reflections, because once you change your thinking, your reality will start reflecting the new thoughts. So you'll get moments where you may see someone acting different than the past, or meet someone who's not a narcissist, but will you be able to sustain it? Most likely not, if your programming of your self-concept is not on point. So let's talk about boundaries. Okay, so what is a boundary? Well, a boundary is not an ultimatum. It's not, if I set this boundary, then they have to do X, Y, and Z so I can get what I want. A boundary is this, though. A boundary is where you are not allowing someone to do or say something to you that doesn't feel good. You're kind of putting up an invisible fence around you, so to speak, that is saying you can't come in this fence unless it feels good. Meaning you're coming in respectful, even if they're not giving you what you want, because that's a whole nother video of like when you're recreating a specific person. But we're talking about someone who's narcissistic or super unhealthy and toxic and really abusive, right? You can't come in my fence area if this is who you're being. Okay, that is a boundary. So that means if somebody's screaming at me and they're cussing me out, and whether I'm standing in front of them or on the phone, most people set boundaries like this. They tell the person, stop calling me names, like they're calling you a bitch, stupid, like really yucky names, right? Stop calling me names. It hurts me when you call me names. I'm not gonna let you call me names anymore. And the person said, okay, I'm sorry. And then 2 hours later, whether you're talking to them face to face or you're on the phone with them, they start the bullshit again, and they start, you know, calling you names again. And then you have the same conversation with them over and over again. It's literally like Groundhog's Day. That's not setting a boundary, babe. That is not setting a boundary. That's you verbally stating something you will no longer tolerate, but then your actions of you standing there accepting it, listening to it, and engaging with them, you continuously talk to them and interact with them, despite how many times they're being abusive and calling you names and, you know, being super disrespectful, is you not following through the boundary. So it's kind of like the boy who cried wolf. Like, you can say it and the person may persist and try to open your invisible fence and come in where you're saying no. And if you keep letting them come in, they're not going to change. And the reason why they're not going to change, one, they don't have to, but here's the main reason why, is two, your self-worth and self-concept is the same, where you don't value you, which is why you keep allowing the behavior. So here's what someone would do with high self-concept and a high self-worth and self-value. So let's say the same person swearing at me on the phone, da 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 da. I'm gonna say, you're never gonna speak to me like this again. If you're this upset, we'll hang up. You can come back to me. We could talk to me respectful. You give them a chance, okay? First time warning, all right? I'm a believer in that. I'll give somebody a chance, okay? And then they say, okay. And then the next day or 2 hours later or whenever, they start the bullshit again. You say, I'm hanging up now. I'm not tolerating this. And you hang up. Or you just simply hang up. And then they're going to blow up your phone and they're going to text you 900 times and you don't reply in that moment. You've already told a grown adult previously what is not acceptable to you behavior-wise when we're talking about disrespect and abuse, okay? And they chose to engage in that behavior again, and you are not going to accept it. So you're going to turn your back to abuse and disrespect and anger, and you're not going to stay stuck allowing that to continue happening, okay? Now, if you're in front of the person, you get up and you walk the fuck away. I don't care if you got to get in your car and drive off somewhere, or you just, walk out of, if you're in their place, you walk out of their place. You're not going to engage in that behavior, okay? That's what someone does with high self-worth. They're like, no one's talking to me that way. I respect myself too much that I'm not going to let anyone disrespect me that way. And they walk out, they excuse themselves from that room. They are not entertaining that bullshit from that person. Okay, so then let's say the person's starting to get it and you're working on your self-concept and you keep setting these boundaries and you're not allowing the behavior. Well, it's a process sometimes, it really depends on what's going on with you internally in your belief system. But sometimes your person you're dealing with, they'll snap out of it and they'll start coming in more correctly. There might be a slip up here and there once in a while. Now, I'm not talking about physical abuse because, listen, I say get the fuck out. Don't even deal with that shit. I wouldn't even waste my time recreating that person. I would just remove myself, run for safety, get safe, reprogram my subconscious mind, work on me so I never manifest in someone who's physically hurting me ever again in my life, okay? I'm talking about people who are being mentally abusive, emotionally abusive, manipulative, pathological lying, all the shitty things that go with the narcissistic type of people, okay? Well, you want to, let's say they may snap and get it quick and you don't really experience that person anymore and they're showing up nicer and nicer if your belief system's changing, or it may slip up once in a while, but you're dominantly seeing really good behavior and them treating you with respect. Okay, that's great. But you really have to understand that everyone's a mirror of you. So you want to change your thinking of you in relation to love and the people you're dating. And this is how you become immune to a narcissist. So you don't ever manifest in that type of personality ever again. And if you do, because it's still lingering and the 3D hasn't fully caught up, when that part shows its, not so pleasant experience or face, you remove yourself from the situation. And some of you may have to remove yourself for several months. Some of you may have to do it for a couple weeks, a couple days, and the person gets it. I don't know. It depends on what's going on in you internally. But if your self-concept's on point, you're not going to be worried about how long something is going to take. You understand what you're doing, what you're creating. You're going to keep reprogramming you so that will not continue. And you trust in the unseen and you trust to know if you want it from that person, eventually one day they'll come knocking on your door when they're a very different person who's capable of their own self-respect and will be able to respect you and communicate respectful with you, or you'll manifest in other people. It's your personal choice, but the goal is to change your thinking so that you reprogram your belief system so that you can set boundaries that keep you safe, that don't allow you to stay engaged in the bullshit triangulation, engaged in feeling insecure, feeling anxious, feeling unloved, feeling like you have to chase this person, feeling disrespected, feeling devalued, feeling not good enough, okay? You're gonna create a different version of you because you have to see yourself differently in love. You have to see yourself that, no, I am worthy of respect and love and admiration. And that's all I'm willing to accept. And you're going to persist in that story until you become that person, and everyone in your reality has to show up and conform to how you see yourself in relation to them. And then you also change your story. If you have a pattern of manifesting in these types of narcissists, you change your story about how your romantic interests show up for you and the types of people that they are. You're no longer accepting that bullshit before, okay? So it's a process, it's an inner transformation, but you won't be able to ignore red flags consistently, and you won't be able to walk away from abuse and disrespect, and you won't be able to set the appropriate boundaries that keep yourself safe and protected if you don't reprogram your self-concept, i.e. self-worth, and how you see yourself in your love life, to move from feeling unworthy and not good enough and not deserving to somebody who knows their worth and value and is deserving to receive the very best loving treatment, and that is all he or she will tolerate forever and ever and ever. So this is it. This is the nuts and bolts of really what you do to be immune to a narcissist. This is how you manifest and get what you want in your love life. And again, it's a process. Most of you, that if this has been your pattern for a long time in your love life, you're not going to manifest this whole internal shift in a day. It's just not going to happen. You need to be realistic, because you're overhauling an entire belief system, and you're also breaking habits of needing the outside to confirm that worth and value if you've been doing that your whole life. And there's a lot of habitual things that you're going to be breaking in the process of unlearning and unconditioning your mind from being this old way to retraining your mind and reconditioning it to think, believe, and act and feel and be this whole new version of you when it comes to this area of your life. But like I always say, you are fucking worthy of it. All right, guys, I'll see you soon. Bye.